Alright, we still got a few minutes to start.
So they were really dangerous and we're really
So we just be patient, just wait for a few minutes. We'll get started soon.
So how's your con been so far?
Pretty good.
Oh, good, yeah.
Made some great guesses, like Angry Joe.
Yeah.
Has your ConBravo evolved to a Con Alpha yet?
What about comma?
I don't know any other Greek letters, so...
Delta.
Their airline sucks.
Oh yeah. That's true.
And that's my review of Delta Airlines.
What, the Delta Airline game? Or Delta Airline Simulator?
I was gonna say, there's a game.
There is an airport simulator.
There's a rock simulator too.
You can actually use the little trams to like push planes over onto their backs.
There's also a tractor simulator for farm. It's farm simulator.
Yeah, farm simulator.
And with a
There's
collector edition, I would like to tell you.
Forklift simulator, lumberyard simulator.
Goat Simulator.
Goat Simulator.
Goat simulator.
There's that.
We don't review simulators, so...
Apparently, Goat Simulator was supposed to be a joke, but then
Well,
they
it
went for real.
The
It is a
creators
joke
were like,
game.
it's like a picture a skateboarding game, but you're not skateboarding and you're not doing tricks, you're just messing with stuff. That's what they said. And it became a real game. Yeah.
Goaty Hawk Underground.
Yeah, what was that other game? Bicycle Manager 2012?
Oh, those are like old mobiles, I think.
No, it was like on Steam, and I was like, excuse me?
So, funny story about that. I got a bicycle simulator as a gift, and just for kicks, I took over an American cycling team as a 12-year-old South African child. And I got fired from the team very, very fast.
At a very young age.
Yeah, that's that somewhere. We got one.
Oh my god, I was not expecting this.
Yes, you guys are a much larger group than the one we had at Anime North.
Yeah, but that doesn't count. It's not the
Thank
same
you.
crowd.
Thank you, staff.
Yes, and thank you, ConBravo, for inviting us. We love you for that.
Okay, it's getting pretty close to 4. We can probably get started here soon.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the Game Reviewing and Beyond panel.
Yes, originally titled The Strategy Guide to Game Reviews.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not used to using mics. So what we're just going to do here, we're just going to talk about just... Why? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, well. So what we're just going to basically talk about is just the basics of game reviewing and how, if you're interested in doing it, we can help you guide you through it and see what it's like to actually review a game and put it on YouTube or something like that. So we're just going to start with introductions. I go by Blondeguygamer. Really hard name to come up with, I know. But anyway, what I usually do is, I'm part of RiverCityGamers. We're just a small little community site where we mostly just review games, and we do a few other things too, like wrestling and other stuff. But we primarily do game reviews on our site.
Because that's what we're good at.
Well, it depends. But anyway.
Good is a relative term.
Because it's good.
Okay. So, what I usually do is, I usually take games that you would probably consider to be, well, one of my review shows is what I usually do is review games that would be considered to be black sheeps. Like, one example would be,
Killer 7.
well, that's a bit more of an obscure game. I'm talking about, like, the best example would be, like, from a series. Like, for example, with the Soul Calibur games, there is an action-adventure kind of spin-off on the Wii called Soul Calibur Legends.
Don't play it.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I was thinking of playing it.
But anyway, so it's basically just me covering games that are like either part of a series or something that's like kind of like, you probably would not think much about. It's probably obscure or something like that. So that's one of my main review shows. Another thing I do is I do a show called They Made a Sequel, which is games that have a sequel that you might not heard of or expected to have a sequel of. And then finally, what I just started recently this year is a retrospective review series of games. What I'm doing is all the games that were released in North America of the Tales of series. So, and I'm just going to pass the mic over to.
Hi everybody. I go by SCXCR or SCX or SCR or SX or Spiker. I have like a dozen nicknames because even though my name is only 5 letters long, it's still really tough for people to remember. I've been reviewing on and off since 2007. I've done many terrible things, but currently I have a few main review series I do. SC On, which is just general nonsense with whatever I feel like talking about, and $5 Gaming, which is where I go out to thrift stores and trade-in stores and see what games I can find for $5 or less and see if they're actually worth what I paid for them. And the most recent one I did was on a fairly obscure game called Tony Hawk Ride. It wasn't worth it.
Alright, fine. So, I'm WizWar100. Some of you might know me by my some other names. I've been reviewing since 2006. Anybody remember when the AVGN was called the Angry Nintendo Nerd? Yeah, I came up during that time along with other people that I won't name off because let's keep this short, okay? I mainly do video games that are bad and just trying to be entertaining about it. I've been trying to improve myself as I keep doing this and learning more from it. The series I basically do is, one of them are quickies where I just quickly look at a game and say and recommend whether you play it or not because maybe it's not that good. The big reviews where I go really, really in depth into it and talk about some points, not to the point of nitpicking, but just like to elaborate certain aspects of the game, like why it's bad. And then I have another series called WTF, which I compare two games that I suggest that which one of the games you should get. Like for instance, like have you ever been in a situation where it's like there are two games you want, but you can only get one of them. Which one should I get? Anyone in that situation? Yeah, so I do that, and it's pretty fun. I only have one episode out right now because trying to find another couple of games to compare each other to. I have a few ideas, so. But
Castlevania 3 and Mario 3.
Wait, pardon?
I literally came up with wanting to buy two of these games. Mario 3 or Castlevania 3. How about that?
That is a thought, but mainly it's like the games have to be like relatable to each other
Or similar.
Yeah, similar. So like I was actually planning on doing everyone heard of Monster Hunter, right?
Yep.
Everyone heard of Demon Souls? I wanted to compare those two games because they play relatively similar, but they're not on the same console. So I'm like,
Demon Souls.
I wanted to do it, but it's like, well, you're not really picking much because you don't really have a choice. Like, oh, do I want to play Monster Hunter on my PS3 or Demon Souls on my Wii? Good luck doing that. So, all right, enough time.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm the black sheep over here. My name is Luc Biron. I'm also known on the internet as Cardmaster and Bironzilla. Cardmaster was when I was doing Terminus Traduction, the biggest translation group of video game that was in the 2000s, up to the mid-end of the 2000s. And I just started recently doing some YouTube with a series that's called Séjour mal évalué, which basically translates as this game was not rated correctly. So basically, I take a game that people love or hate for some reason, and I review it again, and I'm telling why this game is not rated correctly. So my first one was Illusion of Gaia, for example.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that game's a piece of shit. Is a piece of shit. Not a piece of shit, but it's not. It doesn't deserve what people say. People say that's an 8 on 10, and the game is near Zelda, and
It's kind of on a different.
oh yeah, come on. A pig that go in the fire to save the heroes against cannibal, and after the sacrifice, the cannibal doesn't want to eat them. But that's not enough. The mother of the hero we see that's dead for a couple of years appear from nowhere.
Yeah,
So that cannot be that good if you have that thing happening.
That was a little bizarre, but I didn't find that.
Yeah, I have a bunch of argument about that. You can watch it if you understand French, sadly, because I do my video in French because I'm French and I have a crappy accent, and I don't think that the English people need more video right now. They have a lot, and in Quebec we actually have. Pardon?
She said, "What's your accent?"
Yeah. No, but, that's okay. So yeah, that's about it. So I want to cover a different crowd. So it is harder for me because I'm Quebecois. So basically, the Quebec access for Quebec contenu on YouTube is not really there, not in French. So it's harder to purge like that. But we have a small community, and I'm trying to start and put some other EPs out. So that's about it. So yeah. So let's start about that, right? Yeah. So. Yeah. So. How can we get there?
Something we should say right off the bat is that we're going to be going over a lot of like the basics of getting into reviewing, what you can use, stuff that you can do for your reviews, but it's not necessarily rules.
It's a suggestion
just
and recommendation.
General guidelines.
Yeah.
And someone on this panel has been planted specifically to tell you all the wrong things to do.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too hard to guess, I'm going to assume.
It's the guy with the glowing hat.
Yeah, if you want to get in reviewing, it's really suggest that you get equipment because you need to film yourself, you need to capture, right? So we're
And a
gonna.
computer to upload.
Oh yeah, you need a computer and you need an internet connection also, huh?
Unless take to a library and like.
Yeah, and that's really important at that point. So we're gonna to speak about those aspects. We all have our different experience, yes. If you want to see our rendering of what we're doing, because I know when I start my videos, people are really surprised at the quality of my image for first time timers. So basically, you will see that I will explain what I use to get a good image. Actually, my other colleagues use other stuff too. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think the most important thing to do is if you want to review something, what are you going to review?
Yeah.
Obviously, you might want to talk about something or a certain game or something like that you want to do. So, what I'm going to suggest is, if you want to get into reviewing, start with a game that you really want to talk about, like whether it be something that you really liked, something that you can have a lot to talk about, something that either you really liked or you just really didn't like. If you just want to get your opinion out, that's a pretty good start to go on.
Of course, if you have a concept or something that's not done, it's better.
Yes, exactly. Like, you don't necessarily have to do just a straightforward review. Like, if you just want to just talk about the game, and that's it. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to do something that make yourself stand, yeah, just make it stick out a little bit. You can go about how you might want to do something. Like I said earlier, I tend to do games that are like sort of be considered black sheeps or obscure sequels or something like that. And Byron here, he does videos in French for the Quebec YouTube audience. So
I try to eat the French too, but it will be a bit harder. So yes.
Sure. I tend to find that it doesn't really matter if you're doing a particularly good game or a particularly bad game. Just do whatever's popular at the time. And I'm not done yet, don't cut me off. And you don't need any knowledge of it, you don't even need to play it that long, maybe 10 minutes. Wait, that's not the YouTube limit anymore, is it?
No,
okay.
It's 15,
15 minutes.
Like 5 years.
Oh.
I'm an old man, okay? It doesn't need to be that unique of a title, you don't need to play it that long. And all that really matters is that you get in on the top layer of the oversaturation of the popular titles. And make sure that you tag the hell out of it, especially with YOLO and swag.
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Okay.
what game did John try to review recently? That pirate NES game of the
Titanic.
Titanic. Yeah.
You use two of them.
Yeah, just go and review NES pirate games now, I guess. But in all seriousness, like whatever you decide to do, it's just something that you need to know about. Now you can go into reviews kind of blind, but it should be planned out in that sense.
Or at least research extensively.
Yeah,
We need a plan.
It's like if you always do the thing where you're familiar with the game, then how do you review new games? You have to play it like a long time and then review it. So it kind of depends.
Yeah, and and anything's free range to review. Like you can review like an old NES game or even like a new PS4 game, as long as you have the equipment and means to do it.
And do what you want, although do it nicely.
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you didn't have anything.
Oh, I got plenty to say. I just want you to preface it.
I should probably stop giving you the mic. Anyway,
Okay, then
Go.
we
okay.
are in.
Yeah.
Equipment.
Yeah,
Equipment, yes.
So like I said, like you can review anything just as long as you have the equipment. Now this is just what I use, or most of us use here, in terms of like actually capturing our game footage. For a really long time, like for years, I've used something that's called a Dazzle. A Dazzle.
Dazzle HD.
DC100, yes. Basically, it's an audio-video capture device. Mostly, it was meant to be designed for like like DVDs and camcorders and stuff. But you can actually hook up your game systems into it, as long as it has like
The right program.
as long as it has like the yellow.
The yellow, the
Yellow-
composite.
The AV
yeah,
cable,
the
yellow,
composite,
red, white.
thank you. As long as it has composite, you can record off of it, and of course the software with it as well. So, this is what I still use my Dazzle primarily to record older consoles, like my Super Nintendo and other systems like that. That's how I record my game footage from, using Dazzle. Now, however, when it comes to like say, the HD consoles, like say the PS3, the Xbox 360, the Wii U, stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
You can-
that Banjo-Kazooie video you did where you recorded it on your Dazzle and you were like, oh, I wish I could show off the quality and what.
Yeah, you can record.
And can you record with that video with your Dazzle?
Pardon?
Can you record with an S video with your Dazzle?
Yeah, you can still, like with the Dazzle, like with a standard definition capture card, you can still record like HD console stuff, like PS3 and stuff, because
As long as you
up to
have-
like the Wii U, I think you can even still use composite with.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so you can still use it. It's just that it'll just be standard quality, like standard
And
definition.
It won't look as
Like,
crisp
like
and
it'll
vibrant.
just be 40i or whatever it is.
There's something important. You can record a higher quality, in fact, of your Super NES in the box, in the Genesis, and most of the recent console with a cable that's called a SCAR. And most of the console are compatible with it. Now the only thing you need after that is an adapter, and you can send it to HDMI, and you can get that 480p with no project.
I just want to say something. For those of you who live in Canada, we have a thing called Future Shop. You can get a Dazzle there. So
Yeah, you can still get Dazzles.
Yeah,
Right.
personally I use a Lego, and I find it really easy to use and compatible with everything. It's just expensive.
yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, yeah.
180.
Yeah, and another thing, if you actually want to get into gaming, be prepared to spend just a little bit of money on stuff.
But let's give you an idea on like how to be cost efficient on it, but not lose too much quality with it.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say that you can also like record with like your DVD recorder too, if you figured that out. That's why the little red button is on there for.
But it might be more difficult to edit.
It's not as easy to understand, but I've seen it being used at
Yeah, you can do that.
ANC. Anybody know that place? ANC Games.
Yeah. The other solution is a French guy on Quebec side, who's called Bironzilla, who do Je Joue Jeu. He's actually playing the game, testing it on his console, take note, and then go back to an emulators and capture it by emulators. That's what you do to get a better quality of image. That work well if you don't want to spend money because an emulator is free.
But we'll talk about that later.
We'll get that later.
Yeah.
And,
sorry about that.
Oh,
There's another actually very cost-effective way to record video game footage that, in my opinion, trumps all those things that you just mentioned, and it's called a webcam. Now I know it's the standard definition, high definition. Most webcams are high definition anyway, and there's a webcam on my laptop right now. It also has my video editor on my laptop, and a microphone so that I can record commentary while I am recording the video game footage.
Wait. Camera on TV.
It is the ultimate inefficiency. I can make 48 videos a day.
Oh no, you haven't seen me make 90 videos of an LP doing that.
I got 99 LP videos,
Okay.
100.
Okay, yeah.
but Tony Hawk Ride ain't one.
Okay, so
Another thing, if you don't have the games for some reason and you need some part of a video from another game, you can also take a conversion of a video on YouTube or for a Let's Play at worst. It's not really legal, but
Well, you have to give credit where credit.
yeah, you have to give the credit.
Okay,
but
like-
Try to get your own.
That is an interesting point. Like, if you can, if you want, there's a YouTube long play channel called Cubex 55. I believe that channel says that as long as you credited like the channel and the player that uploaded the video, you can use their footage.
Oh, and if it's
But-
in some other case, like ask the people who upload the video, like, oh, can I please use your video
Yeah.
footage for something?
Yeah,
You know, just
it-
make sure to ask,
yeah.
unless stated otherwise.
But I just wanted to go back earlier to the capture cards. Now I mentioned the Dazzle, which is fine for like older consoles, or even if you're just fine with just using standard definition. However, in this day and age, your best bet is probably just to go with an HD capture card.
And because there's the HDMI ports. and-
Yeah.
PS3 and Xbox One are HDMI only, I believe now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do want to say something. The PS3, you can't use the HDMI on it because there's copy.
Yeah.
I think the Lego with the update work now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure about that.
But
Well, anyway, so
solution.
what I use for capturing like my more modern consoles is an HD PVR from Hauppauge. It's the first. I just have the first model, so it's just component. But even component is still 720p, so it's good quality to record off of those consoles with. And even with like stuff like GameCube games on Wii through component, you can do that in at least 40p.
Yeah.
Stuff like PS2 and the original Xbox, you can still do 40p through component on that with an Hauppauge. So it's your best quality bet for at least that generation of consoles as well.
Yeah, I usually just record in 720 because that's pretty much HD. You can go the extra mile if you want to, but that takes up space.
Actually, to see the difference between 720p and
Oh, there is a difference. I'm not denying.
720 and 80p, to see the difference, you need a TV of 40-inch. The rest is the compression of YouTube. So
Yes,
actually,
so-
I film at 720p because that's not worth it, and nobody even complained that my video was not wasn't 80p. They were all saying your video is quite crisp. So
Like
it's
watching
more
on
important.
YouTube.
It's actually more important how you film and that you film correctly to have a good quality of
And
image.
efficiently.
Exactly. A number is only a numbers. That's always what it is.
And then there's 4K.
Which is just a fucking numbers.
Well, who knows eventually with 4K anyway. But right now, the highest quality, like high definition, is HDMI. There are capture cards that do capture with just HDMI. I believe you have an Elgato, which records HDMI from like Xbox 360 and other systems that use HDMI, and possibly the PS3 now with the update. I'm not sure, but.
There's actually a workaround because HDMI is not supposed to work directly with Elgato. What they do is they have an adapter to go into an S-video port, and then you can go HDMI out to your TV, and then go out through USB to whatever computer you're using to record.
That sounds like a series of tubes.
And you know what's way more efficient and less of a headache than that? A webcam.
1.3 megapixels.
Which is enough. Yeah.
Okay, so, and we already mentioned like a DVD recorder. That's actually like I haven't used one personally, but I've seen it as a good solution for some of the older stuff like the original Nintendo and stuff like that. If you just want to just record footage that way, you can. And just make sure you have DVDs and stuff to record with.
Oh, I never mentioned the rocket.
Rocket's well, it's also an Hauppauge capture card. It's a Rocket. It's a one that's designed to be more of a portable
I
recording
own
system. Yeah, you use one.
Anyway, RiverCityGamers one is a lot of options. So
Yeah.
just look at the review and look on what for your budget and look what you want to capture and see the software that comes with it. It's really important.
Yeah, the main reason why I went with you can get an HD PVR Hauppauge 2, and that can actually record HDMI. But the reason why I went with just the first model is because I got it for like $100 off eBay one day. So it does. So you don't need that high of a budget to get even just basic high definition game capture from consoles.
Yeah, the HD Hauppauge Rocket is I own one and it's really really good. It's portable and oh thank you.
Yeah, you can take it.
Yeah, I know, but I think my voice. You guys can hear me without this, right?
Yeah.
It's just better.
Okay, thanks. So, but anyways, yeah, I own a Rocket and it's really good. You can get the HD PVR Papage at Future Shop too, and same with the Rocket because I recently saw that they were selling it at Future Shop. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
We're endorsed by Future Shop, by the way.
There's a lot of places. So just look
Yeah,
around.
so
When
it's
do I get my cut?
When you stop endorsing the webcams.
Yes, yes.
The future shop is depending on the stores actually. So
Oh, I'm just suggesting like
Yeah.
that's where I've seen it. And that's a place to start. But the Rocket, it's portable. It's really good, and it also has this little signal on it that tells you like when it's ready to record because it'll flash red saying it's ready. And you can actually record without needing a computer on it too by sticking a memory stick into it, and it goes up to 32 gigs. So that's really helpful. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, then you can ask about it. But moving on.
Yeah. So there are other means to record games with. You don't even have to get a capture card if if you don't have the money or whatever to actually get if you want to record off of consoles. There are other means to record off of not webcams.
Cameras.
There are other means to record games. One which is kind of a little bit sketchy thing to just even remotely to discuss about are emulators. Now, I personally don't use emulators
Anymore.
Well, I personally don't use emulators, at least not really anymore. But the only recent emulator thing I did, which is kind of an exception, is for one of my Daimyo sequels, I did the DS game Okami Den, which is the sequel to Okami. Now, I didn't have a 3DS capture card or whatever because those are still pretty pricey.
Yeah, the mod for them is like 180 if you send your 3DS in. So.
Now, of course, emulation, it does have good quality. Depending on the emulator, it has built-in recording, and you can still, do stuff with that. But the thing that when it kind of gets a bit sketchy is that even though I own the game, I'm still downloading a ROM for it, so it's kind of a loophole where it's like, well, if I own the game, I'm allowed to have a digital backup kind of thing. But even then, it's still kind of in a gray area.
Yeah,
So it's not something I really personally recommend unless you have absolutely nothing else to work with.
or no budget to buy a card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then there's when
Yeah.
you download games off what was it?
Yeah,
Virtual
exactly.
consoles
Yeah,
and stuff.
there's alternatives to emulation as well. Like with the Wii and Wii U's Virtual Console, you can download a lot of games there. Of course, not all games are on there, but it's a start if you just want to record older games through that.
Oh, that makes me remember something. Anyone seen an extra credit on YouTube?
I watched them for a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, they had this discussion about emulators and the gray areas about it. A good point they brought up is if the game's really hard to find and it's there's no other way to get it than emulators. There's that. Or if it's absurdly expensive, everybody knows everyone that
Little
sellers.
Samsung. Little Samsung, for example, $500 for a NES game.
Yes.
Or you buy it in Japanese for $100, but that's another story.
Yeah, but basically, when those two options happen, then I'd say emulators are okay because, for one, you can't find it, and two, I don't think anyone really wants to blow a hole in their wallet. Within reason, of course. It's not it's $60. I'm not gonna buy. I'm gonna get emulated.
Yeah, I admit I've sort of debated something like that before with a game called Snatcher for the Sega CD. Normally that game goes for over $200 online, of course, but with the Sega CD you can actually just burn a CD copy of it, and I think there was recently scams about that too.
Yeah, but for myself,
But,
I will be honest, myself right now, I'm using a Wii for capturing older games, NES games. If they're not available on the console, I'm on my Wii, but I make sure I have the copy. Because I could capture from the NES, but the NES is only composite, and is interlaced, and there's a lot of issue with that.
And also, emulators always, when you record, it's always in good quality.
Yes.
On, say, an actual console, if you ever had to do something where you took a cartridge out and have to shove it back in and out to get it to work, and then it still looks like crap?
Even if I don't have this issue with my NES. My problem was the resolution because I cut the chip. That's a long story about that. But the difference of quality is drastic because you get the better signal. And the same thing, you get more detail even with the NES and the Super NES, so it's worth it to do it that way. So that's what I decided to do for my next game, but I'm playing with a real remote because the Wii have a GameCube port, and you have GameCube adapters.
Backwards compatibility.
Yes, with the remote, so I
That
can
is
play with a Super Nintendo and Nintendo.
That is until they got rid of it.
You just buy it.
No, they've gotten rid of it to make the cost cheaper.
Yes,
with
of
later
course,
Wii
but with the
models.
Wii U, the adapter is coming back for the GameCube, so you will
Oh.
be a USB that will be freaking awesome. So you have a lot of stuff, but I think we need to move a little bit on
Yeah,
other
exactly.
equipment.
One last thing I'll just say about emulation is that, like, even it's like I said, it's not perfect. I remember when I recorded Okami, and when I was recording, it was so slow. It was like 3 frames per second. So
Yeah.
I didn't record the whole game that way, but I still recorded a good chunk of it
Yeah,
that way.
Beautiful Joe demo, or Beautiful Joe Double Trouble, I did like a little test video. That 1 minute of video of it took me like an hour to shoot because it was moving like it was so slow. It's like it was almost a pain in the butt.
DS emulation is not that great, to be honest. One last thing I want to talk about, at least in terms of like actual games you can record, there are still plenty. There's a huge library of just PC games off of Steam or physical copies, whatever. I just want to briefly talk about what methods you can do to record PC games if you want to go into that area of gaming to recover. So what I use for Fraps and what?
Yeah, I hear Fraps.
I use Fraps.
That's the most
Sorry,
commonly
distracting me.
used one.
There's a lot of capture software. Fraps is the most popular, but you have other ones on Mac and PCs. So I suggest you just do your research and try them, depending on what you're looking for. But that's the best way of doing it.
Okay,
Sorry,
you got a question?
What's the official name for a program like Fraps? Like just a capture program, or?
Capture software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes?
I'm just curious, for PlayStation 1 games, you can always put them on the PlayStation 3, now do that?
Yes,
Yes.
backwards compatibility.
And could you do HDMI with the old games? What would that look like?
Oh, I see
Yes.
how you're thinking.
Yes, but I imagine
Technically, yes.
you will not get full quality, but you will get the best of the quality you can get.
Yeah, honestly, like with most PS3s, you can play PlayStation 1 games on. Now, I've done a couple games on PlayStation 1 where I recorded through my pods to my PS3, and that is probably the best quality PlayStation, like original PlayStation you can get, output you can get for those.
Might be equal with a composite cable, component cable, because I think the PlayStation 1 should support a component cable.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It has a display somehow.
And plus,
Yeah.
the PS3 has like smoothing; it smooths the texture, so it's the games are not as blurry on
That's
PS3. But
mostly the connection, but if you use a component on a PS2 or PS1, you should be able. I don't know if the PS1 support the component, but it should.
Also, going back to your PS1 backwards compatibility, do your research on the backwards compatibility, because I found out the hard way you can't play Japanese PS1 games, and I just kind of wasted a small bit of money. So I didn't know that.
the imports are a bit of a different story.
Because you know how it's like PS3 is region free, so I'm like, oh, I must be able to play PS1 Japanese games. Nope.
Copyright. All right. Okay, let's go for.
Okay, so just to move things along, now, and Fraps is mostly used for like say more modern computer games. At least that's how I do it. But there are actually other means to record game capture footage. I believe there are capture cards you can install into computers that will just directly capture like what's on screen on your computer without like the slowdown from Fraps.
Oh wait, I almost forgot. The Hauppauge Rocket can also record your PC screen, so yeah, we can do that.
And actually with now, there's a lot of like really old computer games too. Now, unfortunately, because of modern operating systems, you can't really run them. However, there is a program called DOSBox. DOSBox will let you, like, even if you own like the actual like old CD game computer games, you can actually put it in your computer and play it off of DOSBox, and you can record with DOSBox. So that's actually how I still able to play, all the old Command & Conquers and stuff like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yes.
Because I was trying to play Star Wars Rogue Squadron on PC. The computer's like, oh, your computer's too good. Get out of here. I didn't know. I didn't know you could just take a CD key and do that.
That's only with like I think it might be older games than that, like Rogue Squadron 3D, because Rogue Squadron came out in like what, 98 or something like that.
Something, but it was for the Windows.
Unfortunately, that area of PC games is hard because it's like it's past DOSBox, but it's still old.
So it's kind of like getting a. Was it when old people get really old and they get like a paid pension?
Welfare?
Yes,
Well-
that's like welfare for DOS games.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, so.
In there.
let's go to other point.
Okay, so we finally, went over many ways you can record various games. So now, if you actually want to, talk about the games, you're going to need a microphone.
And people underestimate that thing a lot. I did, and that I got major complaint for my video, for my first video because of that. So invest in a good microphone.
Yes,
Yes.
I mean,
Unless you want to put text all over your video, because I'm sure everyone is going to love to read it.
it depends.
Well, there are some people.
Yeah, that's true.
It depends, but if you want to just, talk about the game actually, so if you just get like, a $10 headset, that's not really going to be that great of quality.
Cheap, and that's what you paid for, the quality.
Yeah, especially in
Exactly.
audio.
Yeah. So what I use is I use a Blue brand microphone. Blue brand microphones such as one I have is a Snowflake. It's basically just a smaller one, but the main ones from Blue are snowballs.
Yeah, I got that one. Those are usually around 100, but I got mine at a deal for 50, brand new. So,
Yeah, you can
always
get
look
them-
for deals too.
Yeah, you
That's
can
another
get
thing.
them. You can get them for like $50 now. Now you, on the other hand, have had like the same microphone for several years.
Yeah, I got the microphone that I'm still using for reviews back in about, I want to say 2005. It's just like a Logitech stick desktop microphone, but the quality is good enough that I've never really needed to do anything else. So just like using that with Audacity, or even just like Sony Vegas, just recording directly to that.
It's a free audio program.
Yeah.
Use it.
I use the Zoom H2N, which is basically a field recorders, which is with a mic on top, and you have auto gain on it. You have a lot of stuff because I'm doing a review a little bit like like the game, the video.
So you have like control over your volume and stuff.
Yes, and I have a little bit of stuff. It's really basic, but they do the job, and the sound is really good on it. And you have a plug to have another shotgun, which I did plan to have, and I did get, but it was defective because about it used.
Yeah, that's
So
really the
yes,
problem.
and yeah, that was a road too.
It makes me think of the Blue Yeti, which is it looks like a really good mic that I kind of want to get, but
The thing that's really practical is you already record directly on the device. You see your line. You can record with the four. It's an ambiophonic mic. So if you have somebody behind the camera that's shooting some stupid stuff in the back, or they
like
don't
farting.
are doing some comment or whatsoever.
Construction.
Yes, comment. Yeah, basically just make you
noise.
background noise or just complaining. It worked really well because people will hear them really clear and it will be a nice sound. So since you get your files and you have many options on it, it's really easy to use. Since you just have a memory SD card on it, you just remove the SD card and you put it in your computers and you just extract it because it's just a wave. So you can just take it and import it directly in your software and now mix it with the track of your recorders, your camcorders, because the camcorders doesn't have a good sound, sadly.
Like using the camera as audio?
I don't use my camera for audio because I'm gonna go later for the camera, but my camera doesn't have a mic option. So
Really?
no, I don't. But I have a great image quality because of that. So the first thing I did was I was recording with a small recorders,
Yeah,
and
that's
you can also just buy cheap recorders, all right, and use a lavender mic.
That's a good idea for like interviews, because like if you film a camera and like let's say at like.
And it will work great, that's for sure. But if you want to film the ambient noise and everything, which I didn't need, I suggest you take the H2N, and you can record in WAV, not in MP3.
Oh. Yeah.
That's really important to make a big difference in the quality of the sound.
It does, because WAV is a lot more clear, and MP3 it's just kind of.
Especially in the high and the low.
It's a little compressed.
A lot compressed.
Yeah, but it's like that. It's mainly for music. That's why it's.
Even for audio or for speaking, you will see a big difference. So that's something that's great. The sad thing about this, the Zoom H2 and 2 is 280, sadly. But it's a good investment. That's one of my biggest investment. But if you just buy that, you don't need anything if you're in your basement. Be sure that when you record it, close the
Door or something.
no, the
Background.
yeah, the background noise, which means the because I know in Ontario a lot of you have the air conditioning, the complete air that go in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just need to close that because it will make some noise. Even if you're on another floor, the mic will pick the small noise. So you need to.
You can always do like a sound check to see like if it'll pick up anything. And also when you're buying cameras, mics and stuff, make sure you pick one and invest into it, like a really good one. So don't just be cheap and buy it.
Oh no, but I did invest a lot on the camera. But I play around for the sound. So that's another, I think, because my idea was to pay the less as possible to get the most of my equipment. So I took some really equipment that are really specialized. But that's another story.
That's the thing too. Is I got to mention this before, but the microphone that I got like all those years ago, it only cost me like $25 to get. But it's actually more cost effective. You know what has mics built into them?
A PC, motherfucker.
I've got a built-in webcam, a built-in microphone, and I can play music in the background while I'm recording my video games and doing my narration, and then edit it all on the laptop and upload it to YouTube. I am the ultimate in efficiency.
That's the McDonald of editing.
Don't forget to leave your TV on while you're doing that too.
But yeah, that's what I put the games on.
But speaking of computers, you're going to need one, obviously, to make videos. And
I would say go out and take a Mac.
uh,
No, I'm joking. You can do that. I do
I've
that.
actually heard Macs are all right with it.
Are great, but they're really expensive.
Well, yeah. Which I imagine not.
And the software is easy to use and stuff. That's the nice thing.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, you're gonna need a computer to actually put, to have all your footage and and your narration or whatever else you have to do. So you'll need a computer to actually, have everything in there. Now there are several editing programs you can use. The most basic and free one is along the lines of Windows Live Movie Maker. I know it's not that great of an editing program.
But at least you do the job.
It can do
You gotta start somewhere.
it can do the basic job of just having your footage and your narration, and if that's all you need. That's perfectly fine. Now, if you want to get into more complex stuff, like say you're on, you have on cameras, you have multiple audio, you want to put in multiple audio tracks, you want pictures and stuff.
Or take your sound aside and synchronize it with your file. You will need a better software. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I first started with Windows Movie Maker, and I got up to here, so Windows Movie Maker at least has something.
Yeah.
One thing about any editing is, as long as you can split the video, add audio onto it, that's all you basically need. That's the bare minimum. Anything else like adding special effects and text, it's all just extra. But bare minimum.
Practical to add text, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, one of the better editing programs, at least that what most of us, at least here at RiverCityGamers do or use, is Sony Vegas. Yeah, it's a pretty good program. It's not too hard to get into.
It's not
either.
restrictive, I'll say that, because I've actually played through a lot of editing software: Windows Movie Maker, Adobe Premiere, Mac Movie Maker,
And the Movie Maker is not restricted. It's hard the way to.
I just didn't like the way they did it, and that's why I don't like Windows Live Movie Maker, because it had the timeline as little rows, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Instead of one little long line, it's like, yep, no, you gotta where?
Yeah. The software I did use Premiere.
It's not bad.
Premiere is not bad. Premiere sometimes has some issue with codecs.
Yes, it does. That's the kind of thing. But I also
that-
wanted to say,
And I find it a little bit unstable.
Adobe, I don't know if this is still happening, but Blondie, you remember when Zero mentioned that Adobe was giving away Adobe Premiere and all its Photoshop and stuff?
I believe it's
Yes,
just a bunch of Adobe programs
For free.
like Photoshop and stuff.
Because there's a bug with it that they didn't bother to fix it, so they're giving it away for free. So hey, there you go. Don't need to use Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah, and you will get a full Premiere. You might have some issue with some of the codec because it's older and didn't get this update, but at least you should be able to work around.
It's a competent editing program.
I use right now because I am on a Mac. I use capture. Whatever the one that Mac do, not the eMac, but the big ones, which is not Movie Maker. I have a blank.
It's not it's iMovie.
No, not iMovie. The good ones. I just need to remember that one. I love the new one. That's Final Cut Pro. Sorry, Final Cut Pro. Yes, that one is basically the big brother of iMovie, and it's great to use.
Yeah, I've heard many good things about it.
What I love about it is easy to sync audio with it, and that is. But the timeline is flooding a lot, so you need to change your way of. You don't have a principal track. Yeah, no. You have your main track where you put your main stuff, and then you put the stuff on the over or under it.
That was annoying.
That's a little bit annoying, but it works at least. That's the thing, and it's more stable for a Mac, and the sharing is not bad either. So you have some good option. It is efficient, and
It works for you.
it worked for me, and especially if you want to record, because the thing with Premiere, if I did not manage to see all the audio
Yeah, it
line,
has to load and render, which is what kind of drove me away from it.
yeah, to sync all your different stuff, and that pissed me off. With the Mac, you don't with the Final Cut Pro, it is automatic. It works directly. That's what you want if you're recording. You need a software that you will see those things to sync it.
A word of warning about any video editor, though, is save constantly.
Yes.
You're working with very large.
This problem because it's saved automatically.
No, but let's just say, because
Well,
I don't think
even
everyone
when
is
it
as
does
blessed as-
autosave,
Yeah, I know.
the thing is, you're probably going to work with a bunch of very large files, and then if you're recording narration with the program, you're going to be creating even more large files within the program, and it's probably going to crash once or twice.
You need a really big hard drive.
That too, especially if you're recording HD footage.
Oh, yes.
Well, we skipped the camera a little bit.
Yeah, we accidentally skipped that, but we'll talk about that briefly.
Yeah.
So, this is only if you want to actually be on camera to talk about the game. If you want to, express yourself about the game, through that.
It's not necessary, but if you want to.
Generally, what we use are just camcorders. Most HD camcorders are actually not too expensive, depending on which ones you get.
They'll have like different features and certain like settings on it that you can put.
But even back like when I was first starting out, like way back in like 2007, and from there on, I used I sort of like gone up. Like I started out with just a webcam on my computer.
Same.
And then I eventually, yeah.
Yeah, your favorite subject.
But that was like 7 years ago. I'm old. Anyway, then I moved on to a digital camera that had like a video option on it, which wasn't that great. Then I got another digital camera which had better quality, and then I eventually got a camcorder. Camcorders are very helpful because you can usually flip the screen around to see what you're doing on camera.
And they are more.
They are made for that.
Yes, they are made for that. So, because my sister she uses a camera to do her videos, and on the camera, depending on them, they overheat a lot.
And the zoom get blocked, you heard the motor of the zoom moving and stuff like that. So for myself, and I suggest if you want to have a good image quality for cheap, here what I suggest you do. You can buy what we call an SLR, which is a photo camera with an interchangeable lens, or a mirrorless, which is like a 20-inch tube that you can change lens, which have big sensors on it. The sensor is so big, they are bigger than the camera at $1,000 on the market. The ink is not really, you cannot do tracking movement with them. So, but if you're doing review,
They're really good for up close.
up close stuff, and if you want a blurry background, because because the sensor is so big, when you have a good lens with good light on it, that's really inexpensive, you can actually have a blurry background. So you're there and your background is blurry.
Oh wait, are you saying like focus on you?
Yes,
and,
you
like,
focus on you and your background is blurry because of that.
That's an editing tip, so we'll go on.
But that's not even an editing tip. When you're filming, it's there.
Yeah, that which is the
Say,
Yeah, that's just the focus.
That's the focus of the camera, so it's already done, so you don't have to worry about that. And sometimes, if you look carefully, you can get some Olympus camera really cheap, like AEM1 for $200, $300. And you then get a lens, that's a prime lens with an adapter, wherever the lens, you just get the good adapter to it and you put it, and you focusing manually, and then you open the light at this maximum, and you will get a better image quality. It will be sharper because the lens is prime. And yes, that's the thing. And you get that camera for $500, a fraction of what you would get for a camera that, to give a good image quality, you have to pay at least $1,600 for.
Yeah, that's true. Basically.
But you need to record your sound aside.
Okay, so
I was gonna say, well, basically just do your research and find the camera that you want and invest into it. You don't want to end up with a crappy camera.
Yeah, all the big YouTubers are using that right now because they don't do movement, but you need to be more careful and more precise. And like Tesla Alpha, which the big makers right now did buy, which was completely stupid. They bought that 5D Mark II, which is the body is normally $3,000 new. They bought one used, so it cost him like $1,600. But the first time he used that camera, it was not good because it was doing a lot of mistakes. So because of that, but after he mastered it, the quality of image was really great. As I say, also if you want to have a good image quality, invest in some lighting. You can find a triple lighting kit for like less than $200. So that thing is the best investment because the light that you have here is pretty poor. Right now, we're gonna have a video. The video is not gonna be that much clear over there.
Yeah, good lighting is important.
Yeah,
Don't
and
overlook that.
it's $300. So basically, if you add all those things for filming, it will cost you less than $1,000, which is great.
Okay, so now you've got all your footage recorded. You've got your camera. Now you've got to get down to scripting and filming your video.
Which is a smart idea, I might want to add.
And my first video was not script, it was a mess.
Oh yes, because most of my early videos I just kind of rambled on, which made the video unnecessarily long. Because if you can talk about a certain game for under a minute.
Well, you call it a mess. I call it personality. Now, a couple of general things about scripting. Number one, if you use an in-joke that's only funny to two people who know you, when you put it on the internet, it automatically becomes funny to everybody. And the second thing is, if you take a joke that's made by somebody else, like say JonTron or someone else, and then you use that joke in a completely different context that absolutely doesn't work, it's also funny. Would you like to add anything to that?
no, other than humor is always subjective. So the hardest part really doing any of this is whether or not you're actually being entertaining.
It depends because some people do informative reviews like Angry Joe, and then there's other people that do entertainment reviews that are supposed to be funny.
You can still be informative and entertain at the same
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
But you can do both.
Yeah, you can do both, and if you want to do one, you do a script, all right, write it, but try to have somebody that can check it. Yes, because sometimes you will do something that are not appropriate.
Or you'll miss something.
Or you will miss something, or you're doing it. The worst thing is you will do something that's not appropriate, and you think it is appropriate.
Yes, because you're the creator. You know what you're planning, but your friends or other people don't know what you're thinking. They just see what's in front of them.
I did a joke on Ontarian Malaise videos, where basically I speak about the N64 and what people what I heard every time, and then one of the lines basically. My voice is cut and I have an Ontarian that's speaking in it to say the N64 is awesome because I am Ontarian, and then you got my camera guy say, you really did say that to an Ontarian, and I say yes, we have no idea what you can do by torturing them whatsoever. So
but you could get a lot of views from a lot of angry people.
yes, also of course, but that thing was okay, but the line to cross is really thin. So you must be careful.
Have some taste.
Yes, and sometimes you think that's funny, but they're just not funny. So, and that's one of the things that's happening with the angry video game nerds is he's only writing a script, and sometimes the jokes are not good, and one of the reasons is nobody is watching what he's writing.
Not true. His friend Mike McKay watches it, but I guess.
It's not as like with the JDG, the Joueur du Grenier, or Tester Alpha, where they both work together. And the correct and if something is not doing, they're not doing it or whatsoever. So that's important. Get you some feedback before filming.
Yes.
And
some of the check over.
yes, and write your script. Follow your script as much as possible. You can change a bit of your script, but the major idea must be the same.
Something about script writing. Don't just try to sit down one day and write out your entire thing in one go. Because you're going to burn out big time if you try to do that. Like my scripts, I write them over the course of like a week, sometimes 2 weeks, or in the case of some retrospective videos,
in
6
my case,
months.
it's 1 month to do my show because my show is a little bit more complex, and I need to do the footage. I need to have some argument and that's the same thing with the Alcacer Alpha, GDG, and Angry Video Game Nerd. You cannot improvise, so it takes a lot of time to do it. So depending of your show.
Unless like in a certain because in some of my scripts I just kind of leave it open to how I'll do it. Like for instance, like a reaction. I'm not going to script my reaction. I'm just going to give my reaction right there.
No, that's of course, but depending on what you're doing. So if you're just doing a review at the moment, it's not as hard as doing a script where you want to demonstrate and do a little bit of entertainment at the same time. It takes more time.
Yeah, you need to work on it. So basically with scripts, you can write a script, but like don't immediately start like, oh, I'm going to start filming it and start doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Push yourself away, give it like a day or two, come back to it, and then ask yourself, is this a good idea? Because I've done that in 1 week, like on like first day, I write a script, I think like, oh, I think it's pretty good. Come back the next day, it's like, this part doesn't really work, I'll change it up. Because, you might be writing it when you're really tired and you're like, oh my god, it's such a good idea.
To be honest, the longest part of doing a video for me is writing the script.
Yeah, it's depending on like your format. Because if you do like a really standard format, it's just like gameplay, graphics, and stuff.
Which is not my case.
Yeah. But it's also important that you can probably take notes while we're recording the games too. That helps illustrating. But also, so once you got everything thrown together, it's time to upload it and put it on. YouTube is pretty much the one place to go right now, at least in terms of like just uploading it, getting exposure, seeing basically what happens if people watch it and people enjoy it. That's how we all pretty much got started.
I mean, everyone here knows YouTube, right?
Well,
okay, yes. You got a question?
No, I'm just curious. Just before you upload whatever, what is that copyright we have to do with Nintendo?
We'll get into copyright in a second.
Yeah, we'll get into it later, but let's say it involves music.
We have 5 minutes right now.
Yeah, we gotta hurry up and speed things up a little bit. So, with copyright stuff, it can be a little bit of hassle, but believe me, it wasn't as bad as it was back in the old days, where if you got a copyright strike, you could get your channel suspended for it.
And removed.
But nowadays, most companies just sort of just say, oh, if you're using this music or using this footage, it's like saying, oh, we'll just take your video and put an ad on it. That's really the worst, unless
Or
like it's blocked in countries.
At one point, they muted your video, like Warner.
Media group, yeah.
Yeah.
That was back in like older copyright days. Like, trust me, it was worse back then. But anyway, so there are a few ways around that. You can try and dispute them. Sometimes it doesn't always work because they're usually automated anyway. I've only had like a few of my videos copyright striked. Mostly like Okami did, and like one of my old reviews where I did a pretty bad Rocky montage thing because I reviewed a bad boxing Sega CD game.
But that was a good video though.
Do not use music. If you don't want to be in trouble, do not use music that will get you copyright infractions.
Sorry.
Yes, go on.
They are bitching about that. So.
Yeah, if you want to double check, you can try to find it on YouTube and look in the corner to see if there's like a little link that says buy such and such song from this artist. That's not a completely foolproof way of doing it.
But it's an idea.
Yeah,
I also wanted to say, using music from like TVs or movies, obviously it's copyrighted. So like avoid those if you can. Typically, like when I use music in my video, it's from video games, and they can't really do that.
That can
backfire on you big time.
Yeah, they can be.
Some of those people do like sell their own music. Like, I can't use Command and Conquer music because that music is copyrighted.
Yeah,
big time.
Actually, weird thing about that, sometimes copyright disputes or even claims will just suddenly just go away. Like, you mentioned Command and Conquer. I reviewed a Command and Conquer game. It was the PC game Renegade. Now, it got a copyright claim for the music, but then, like, I noticed fairly recently it just was gone.
Wait, was it music from the game and not you putting like...
It was just like, just in general, like, I used a bunch of CNC music in the review, so obviously it got like copyrighted for that. But even that's the thing though, even if even if you try and play it safe and like do like video game music, it can still get copyrighted.
If that's true, like Nintendo.
Yeah, especially with like Nintendo recently with their copyright stuff. Like even just like footage of their newer games, like Mario Kart 8, you'll still get pretty much copyrighted.
Wait, even with
from
the
Nintendo.
upload to YouTube thing?
Pardon?
Even with the upload to YouTube thing?
Yes, if you use that Mario Kart 8 feature where you like share your highlights on YouTube, it'll get copyright claimed by Nintendo. No kidding. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I only got
we gotta really speed things up here.
All right,
So-
Swami, go.
So, you can deal with copyright claims. You can either just deal with it as long as it's viewed publicly. It's fine. But if you reach a point where it's like, can I actually make money out of this? It is possible to monetize videos on YouTube. You can potentially make this a living, like with several of the guests that were here at ConBravo. I mean, obviously. But if you're like us, where most of us only don't have like not even 3,000 subscribers, it can be something where it's like, okay, can I even make just a few dollars out of this? Well, you can, but the problem is that you have to deal with the copyright stuff. You can dispute to try and make your video monetizable. But I've had videos where it's like, you can it says I need to like prove that it's my video that can be monetized. Yeah, those are not. Really
By the
fun,
way,
but-
you have to also go through a whole bunch of other processes in order to get paid for it.
It's not fun. But anyway, there are other ways to avoid it. Like some producers have used like Patreon to try and counterbalance that. Others have uploaded videos to like Blip and Springboard and Dailymotion, Vimeo, a bunch of other video alternatives of video players. You can use those to avoid potential copyrights. The only problem is that it's not YouTube. It's not going to get nearly as many views if you just stick to like Blip and all that.
Because it's kind of like Steam. Like everybody knows Steam, right? What if another computer program like came up? Like, would you go to that, or would you rather go to Steam?
Another thing about Blip too is that number one, they've started cutting down on the amount of accounts that they'll let people have. Like a bunch of people on RiverCityGamers had Blip accounts. In fact, pretty much everyone did.
Everyone did.
And then almost all of them just got taken down.
One day, they
Yeah.
all changed.
I call that the purges. But anyway, another thing too is that unless you're getting massive viewership on Blip, they are not going to pay you a damn thing. Because
that's true.
And
there's
what
a
is a
20.
major fee? What is a major?
Hmm?
What is a major viewer audience?
Most of that was just people who watched a Blip embed on our website.
Yeah, so it kind of counts.
Yeah, like
So
that-
it wasn't actually like people on Blip watching Blip videos.
But they're watching from a Blip
Yeah,
source.
like people like that are the glasses. They use Blip and they embedded on their site. And they got a lot of views and support from Blip that way.
Kind of like the nostalgia critic.
Yeah, but how many people you need to do that to have revenue? Because you say you're not gonna.
You need a lot of views.
You'd need like several hundred views on each of your videos, because I had like 30-something videos on my Blip account, and I'd say maybe half of them got like 500 views or more. It took me like 3 years to get $25.
Okay.
I only got paid when they closed my account.
Oh, and I got paid when. Oh wait, I did get paid.
Okay.
Okay, so one last thing we want to mention is once your video's up, it's pretty much just free roam there. You'll probably get some criticisms. You'll probably get some good feedback. It all depends on how it goes. You're basically just throwing your video out there.
Like
just hope for the best.
a bottle out into the ocean with a message.
Have thick skin.
Exactly. Like if you know YouTube comments,
Oh, you have to
it's
tell.
bound to happen.
You have. Oh, those are so bad. But you have to tell the difference. You have to be able to understand the difference between like good comments and like comments that are. They might be mean, but they're like they're trying to help you improve your video by saying, "Oh, this is
Constructive.
constructive," and critiques. Yes.
Yes.
So listen to those, and all the comments that are just like there, just be a troll. Don't get hurt by them. It's just like a fly. Don't let it bother you.
I'm sorry.
Just squish up.
I'm really sorry I have to leave right now because my trip is leaving because we have 7-hour road to do,
Oh, all right.
and I'm working tomorrow.
Yeah, we're pretty much done. It's about 5 o'clock. So
Yes.
thank you all for coming. We really
If you have any
appreciate it.
questions, you can ask later.
If you have any questions about review, I know we couldn't really do it in the panel except for a few here and there, but you can still ask us just in general about videos.
But this is to my side. We didn't make a card for like.
Yeah, we unfortunately don't have one for our.
I was gonna make one, but
And thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you very much.
yes, thank you very much for attending. You've all been wonderful. We'll be here next year, maybe. But if you have any questions, you can come up and ask.